guys, this is your Tita in China, and today we're back with a new skincare video. Today's video will be all about sunscreen. I'm also going to talk about why you need sunscreen, the kind of sunscreen that you need, and why sunscreen is probably the most important part of your skincare routine. And I'm also going to talk to you about my favorite sunscreens that are available in the Philippines. But before we move on with the video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also the little bell notifications so that you'll know the next time your Tita in China will have a new video. And without further ado, let's talk sunscreen. So first, let's talk about why you need sunscreen. Kailangan nyo mag-sunscreen every single day, even if you're just going outside for 10 minutes or the entire 8 hours. And that's because your skin's biggest enemy is the sun. If you're concerned about wrinkling, aging, losing the youthful and supple appearance of your skin, all of that is actually caused by the sun. The more exposed you are to the sun, the more likely you're going to develop these symptoms earlier in life. So right off the bat, sunscreen is not a whitening product. Hindi siya pampaputi. I know that there are some sunscreens that have, whitening and brightening benefits. But the real reason why you need sunscreen is to avoid things like wrinkling, hyperpigmentation. So when we talk about the sun, we're actually referring to UVA and UVB rays. UVA causes premature aging. So dyan na pumapasok yung wrinkling, yung parang yung skin nagiging leathery, and yung parang nawawala yung pagiging parang plump ng skin natin that's caused by the UVA rays. And it's also very important to remember that UVA actually goes through windows, yung mga glass, ganyan. If you're in an office na malalaki yung mga windows, which is a lot of our office buildings these days, or kung nagda-drive kayo, you are still exposed to UVA rays. Even if you're considered in the shade kasi you're indoors, the UVA rays can still cause all of those damaging effects on your skin. UVB rays are the cause of burning and also the change in the DNA that causes skin cancer. So it's easy to remember, UVA causes aging and UVB causes burning. This is the reason why wearing sunscreen is not just about vanity, it's actually a necessity. Especially in tropical countries like the Philippines na 365 days a year, merong araw. In more temperate countries, even here in China for example, meron talagang mga 1 or 2 months na we don't really see the sun or yung UV index is pretty much 0 or 1 lang. You can download an app for your phone or even check online. I have it on my weather app, the UV index, and you will see that in the Philippines, the UV index is pretty steady all throughout the year. So kahit na medyo maulan or cloudy, if you check the UV index, it's still pretty high. So it's important to wear sunscreen kahit na cloudy outside. So I guess my point here is you just really need to wear sunscreen every day, as long as nandyan pa yung araw, as long as hindi pa siya lumulubog, you still need to wear sunscreen when you go out. So what are the different kinds of sunscreens? There are actually 3 different types. You have the physical sunscreen, the chemical sunscreen, and the combination sunscreen. What makes them different from each other is the ingredients that they have. Physical sunscreens contain zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, and these are mga powdery, chalky substances na when mixed in a formulation, actually creates a physical barrier on your skin. So literally, parang meron kayong mascara against the sun. The main problem is, and I think also the reason why a lot of people don't like to wear sunscreen, is because of the white cast that the zinc oxide and the titanium dioxide leaves on the skin. Kasi nga, diba, in its purest state, it's like a chalky, powdery, white substance. And yun yung nilalagay natin on our face para maprotektahan tayo from the sun. Pero hindi naman kasi nawawala yung pagiging white and chalky niya, so it stays there on the skin. So medyo mahirap siya bagayan. Kahit medyo meron siyang white cast, physical sunscreens are actually the safest. Yun yung best for sensitive skin because wala siyang chemicals, wala siyang additives that can irritate or make your skin sensitive. As a matter of fact, kung titingin kayo ng mga products na marketed like a baby sunscreen or baby-friendly sunscreen, most likely they will be like a pure physical sunscreen or a pure titanium dioxide sunscreen kasi nga it's very safe even on sensitive skin. Zinc oxide and titanium dioxide are minerals, and that's the reason why physical sunscreens are actually sometimes also called mineral sunscreens. The second type of sunscreens are called chemical sunscreens, and usually they contain chemicals like avobenzone, which protects us from UVA, and homosalate, which protects us from UVB. Usually, chemical sunscreens will have a combination of different UV filters or UV filtering chemicals because usually the individual chemicals don't really protect us from both UVA and UVB. And that's the reason why brands usually like put them together to provide a broad spectrum protection. In a lot of Asian products in the Philippines, like Beach Hut, also like Face Shop, Asian skincare in general, usually the sunscreens also contain methoxycinnamate, which is for a UVA filter, and ethihexyl salicylate for UVB. Chemical sunscreens, para siyang ozone layer for your face. It's like a parang filter lang siya. So what it does is it absorbs the UVA and the UVB rays and then it bounces back or it disperses it as heat or as energy. Because it is chemicals and just like any chemical, nagde-degrade siya over time. What you need to do is to reapply it every couple of hours. If you sweat a lot or if you went for a swim, it's best to put on a new layer of chemical sunscreen as soon as you get out of the water or as soon as you finish your activity. Physical sunscreens don't really require as much touch-up, pero hindi ibig sabihin na hindi na kayo magta-touch up. You also need to touch up even a physical sunscreen, but it definitely stays on longer and is more waterproof than chemical sunscreen. The last type of sunscreens are combination sunscreens, and as the name suggests, it is a combination of physical sunscreen and chemical sunscreen. This is the kind of sunscreen that I prefer because less yung chemical na ginagamit nila, and because gumagamit rin sila ng mga physical sunscreens, you get the best of both worlds. And the white cast is very minimal. All of these products actually wala talaga silang white cast at all. But most importantly kasi, hindi siya ganun ka-sensitizing to the skin as just pure chemical sunscreens. So don't be scared about the term chemical sunscreens. At the end of the day, my philosophy when it comes to skincare is to use the one that works and to be as evidence or science-based as possible. And there's a lot of research already done on these sunscreens that prove that they are safe. They're even safe for babies depending on the formulation. So there's really no need for us to worry about the safety of sunscreens in general. One issue that you might have with chemical sunscreen, especially if you have sensitive skin, is that it stings. Medyo mahapdi siya. And that's because most chemical sunscreens will have some sort of alcohol, like denatured alcohol, that's actually used to stabilize the chemical sunscreen or the UV filters that are mixed in the formulation. And that's the reason why it's best to try out as much as possible. If you can buy just like the small container of a sunscreen, before you buy a bigger container, you do that because it's really best for you to try out what the formulation is. Alcohol, especially in sunscreen, is important. It stabilizes the product and it makes it more reliable. But of course, depending on the formulation and how much alcohol they put in there, it can actually cause sensitivity in your skin. And marami naman kasing options, especially now in the Philippines. There's really no need for you to stick with just one product, especially pag hindi na talaga siya comfortable, pag mahapdi na siya. There's really no need to stick to that product because marami namang iba. Oh, and also, there's a common misconception that if you're darker skinned, if you're morena, you don't really need to wear sunscreen, but that's absolutely not true. Like I said earlier, sunscreen is not about making yourself light-skinned. It's not even about making your skin lighter. Sunscreen is really about protecting your skin from damage from the sun. So lahat tayo, whatever skin color, whatever skin tone, all of us get affected by the sun. And all of us can get premature signs of aging. Kahit na gaano ka pa ka-morena, kahit gaano ka pa ka-dark skin, you still need to wear sunscreen to protect your skin and keep your skin as youthful and as radiant as possible. The next thing we need to talk about is SPF. What is SPF and how is it different from PA and the pluses? And what's the best SPF to use? SPF is short for Sun Protection Factor, and it is a number that tells you how protected you are from the sun. Along with SPF, you should also look for a sunscreen that says broad spectrum or full spectrum, because that means that you are being protected from both UVA and UVB rays. You will also want to get a sunscreen where the PA rating has as many pluses after it as possible. The difference between SPF and PA is that PA is a system that was established or developed in Japan. The PA system uses pluses to indicate how protected you are from the sun. So the more pluses you see after PA, the higher sun protection you get. Another thing that you need to consider when it comes to SPF is that the higher does not necessarily mean better. Hindi ibig sabihin na SPF 100 yan, na better yan than SPF 30 or SPF 50. And actually, since it uses more chemicals and mas marami siyang stabilizing ingredients, it can actually irritate your skin more and even cause breakouts. So if you're going to get higher SPFs, like yung mga 90, 100, you can expect that those sunscreens will be much more more irritating to your skin, but they don't actually give you that much benefit than if you were just using SPF 30 or SPF 50. And speaking of SPF 30 and SPF 50, bakit nga ba iba-iba yung sinasabi o iba-iba yung mga nire-recommend? So on a daily basis, according to my research, SPF 30 is enough. As a matter of fact, even if you go out in the sun or even if you go swimming, SPF 30 is enough. But the reason why some brands and dermatologists would recommend SPF 50 is because of that chronic underuse of SPF. So even if SPF 30 is enough, a lot of experts will say it's better to get an SPF 50. So even if you don't use exactly the right amount of dosage, you will still get enough sun protection. A lot of people don't know na yung level ng SPF na nakukuha natin is actually dependent on a particular dosage. So hindi ibig sabihin na your product says SPF 50, na SPF 50 yan kahit kakapiranggot lang yung gagamitin ninyo. Usually you achieve SPF 50 when it's a particular dosage, and usually the dosage is 1/4 teaspoon or 1.25 ml. This is my 1/4 teaspoon, and this is the amount of sunscreen that you need for your face, your ears, and your neck, and you will need 4 times this for one arm. So for me, whenever I try out a new sunscreen, especially combination sunscreens that are a bit heavier on physical sunscreens like titanium dioxide, zinc dioxide in the ingredients list, I always use a measuring spoon and see if there's any white cast if I use the recommended amount to achieve the SPF that's on the package. And since we're already on the topic of the 1/4 teaspoon dosage, this is the reason why we cannot rely on foundation for our sun protection, kasi even if meron mang mga foundation na SPF 40, SPF 50, I'm not sure if meron ganon. But if meron ganon, hindi pa rin tayo pwede mag-rely on that because we actually use way less than 1/4 teaspoon to cover our entire face and to cover our entire neck. Usually, 1 or 2 pumps, that's it. That's going to be definitely covering your entire face already pag foundation, but it's definitely not enough to achieve the 1/4 teaspoon recommended dose for sunscreen. Another misconception is that if you layer different SPF, then the SPF is cumulative, naiipon siya, but that's absolutely also not true. So for example, if you have a moisturizer that is SPF 25, and then you also have a foundation that is SPF 25, so iisipin nyo, oh, I'm all good because, you know, SPF 50 yung 25 plus 25. But actually, SPF is not cumulative, and yung pinakamataas na SPF, yun lang yung magpro-protect sa inyo. Kasi hanggang doon lang talaga yung kaya ng product na protektahan kayo. So keep that in mind, SPF is not cumulative. The strongest SPF in the products that you're using, that's the most protection that you're going to get if you're using the recommended dose. The kind of SPF layering that's good is actually when you use your same SPF, but instead of isang bagsakan yung ilalagay yung 1/4 teaspoon, lalagyan nyo siya ng konti-konti and then waiting for the sunscreen to be absorbed by your skin first, and then putting another layer until you've achieved the 1/4 teaspoon. That way, hindi nabibigla yung skin, and that way, mas madaling na-absorb and mas na-fully absorb yung product into the skin. So the goal is to protect your skin from the sun as much as possible and to avoid the harmful effects of the sun. So if you're worried that maybe putting on sunscreen is going to diminish or will make you deficient in vitamin D, that's completely not an issue. Vitamin D is very important for a lot of bodily functions, pero hindi ibig sabihin na we only get vitamin D from the sun. So when it comes to issues about deficiency in vitamin D, there's really no reason for us to worry about that because, well, first of all, there's actually not enough research that tells us how much vitamin D we need and how much sun exposure translates to that vitamin D need. I've seen some research wherein like a palm-sized part of our body when exposed to the sun for like 20 or 15 minutes is enough to get us the vitamin D that we need for the entire day. And there are also some studies that say that it actually depends on like what time of the day you're going to get your sun. However, there are countless papers, countless researches that were done that prove excessive exposure to the sun can lead to premature aging, wrinkles, and also just skin cancer. So it's better to protect ourselves from those conditions and those illnesses and just get our vitamin D from other sources, food sources like mackerel, vegetables. There are also vitamin D fortified orange juice, apple juice, and of course, most milks are fortified with vitamin D, and even soy milk or other plant-based milks are fortified with vitamin D and other vitamins. So really, in this day and age, especially if you just eat a healthy diet, a healthy balanced diet, there's no real reason to worry about vitamin D deficiency. So aside from sunscreen, there are other ways that we can protect ourselves from the sun using physical barriers. This is a jacket I got from Uniqlo. I love these because it's really breathable, it's really light, and when you're traveling, if you want to bring this, it's easy because they easily fold up and they don't take up a lot of space. The same with these ones I got from Decathlon. They are also UPF 40. And they come in all sorts of shades and colors. So UPF, basically that's just like SPF but applied for clothes and non-cosmetic products. Other UPF products include hats, and a good wide-brimmed hat is also essential when you want to protect yourself from the sun. If you go to Decathlon in Manila, there are actually like sections there where you can see hiking, fishing, different hobbies. So you'll find this in either hiking or fishing. So all of my favorite sunscreens that I'm going to show you, all of these usually are between SPF 30 and SPF 50. But take note lang na even if I do have dry skin and my skin is quite sensitive at times because, you know, I'm using a lot of other actives like exfoliating acids, and I'm also using retinols in my skincare routine. So sometimes my skin can get a little bit sensitive. Having said that, hindi ako sensitive to fragrance. I'm not also sensitive to most oils. Some of these products do have those things. Some of them do have fragrance. Some of them do have essential oils. So I will just let you know kung meron silang ganung klaseng mga ingredients so that you will be informed pwede ba yun sa skin ninyo or not. So whenever I give you product recommendations, I'm going to just let you know alin dito yung merong fragrance, alin dito yung merong possible na makakapag-trigger sa acne ninyo. Of course, my most favorite, I already spoke about this many times, is the Body Shop Skin Defense. Absolutely no whitecast whatsoever. It's very light on the skin. Sometimes it can feel a little bit oily, but that's just because of the UV filters used. But it has absolutely no whitecast, and with just a little bit of powder, mawawala na rin yung shine niya. It has no mineral oil, no paraffin, it's vegan, and it is also non-comedogenic. I have used this so many times, I have repurchased so many times. This really has been my go-to product, but of course, any sunscreen is quite exciting to me, so I try a lot of different sunscreens. Sometimes I don't repurchase them even if they're good products, but this one I always repurchase. So this is one of my recent favorites. This is actually my first bottle, but I have already almost finished it. This is the Hello Sunny Hydrating Sun Essence with SPF 50 with a PA of 4 pluses from Banila Co. And I really like this because not only do you get the sun protection, you also get a lot of skincare benefits, especially if you have a compromised skin barrier. Kung medyo nagre-red yung skin ninyo, sometimes because of too much exposure to the sun, ito yung maganda because it also has ingredients like Centella asiatica. And Centella asiatica is actually really good for minimizing redness, it minimizes inflammation. So kung medyo compromised yung skin barrier ninyo, this is actually a really good one. Comes out medyo parang ganitong kulay, but a very light. And it also dries clear. Yun nga lang, this does have fragrance and it does have some essential oils from plants. So if you have super sensitive skin or if you have that kind of acne triggered by essential oils like tea tree for example, this might not be a good product for you. But if you're all good, if hindi problema yun sa inyo, this is actually a very good sunscreen that not only protects you from the sun but also helps soothe your skin and heal your skin, especially if you have a damaged skin barrier. And speaking of Centella asiatica, which really is one of my favorite skincare ingredients as of the moment, this is from CosRx and it's called the Shield Fit All Green Comfort Sun SPF 50 with a PA of 4 pluses. This one will surprise you a little bit because meron siyang konting white cast in the beginning when you put it on, but when you rub it in, it actually becomes clearer. So you need to rub this on and sort of wait for it to dry because it dries clear. I'm going to talk to you about Centella asiatica. I actually have a lot of products that have Centella asiatica, especially since, you know, I'm experimenting more with actives. So there really are times when my skin is a little bit sensitive, my skin barrier is a little bit impaired, and I always turn to Centella asiatica products to help heal my skin and to calm down my skin. Another Body Shop item, this is the Vitamin E Emulsion. It is SPF 30 with a PA of 3 pluses. And this is a milk consistency, you can see it there. It's super duper lightweight. This one is actually even more lightweight than the Skin Defense. But not only that, it also contains vitamin E, wheat germ extract, and that's very soothing and very moisturizing to your skin. There's also this one. This is also from CosRx, and I got this from Beauty Bar as well. And this is the Shield Fit Snail Essence Sunscreen. It's SPF 50 with a PA of 3+. And the thing I love most about this is the texture is just so light. It's so lightweight. It's not sticky at all. And it leaves a very, very refreshing feel to the skin. The Snail Essence is very good. It's very moisturizing. And it doesn't leave an oily sheen at all. So it's good for those with oily skin or acne-prone skin. The next one I'm going to talk about is the Happy Skin Catch the Sun. And it is an SPF 40 sunscreen with a PA of 3+. I have many words to say about Happy Skin skincare line. I'm actually testing it right now. I'm on week number 5 and I have words. But the sunscreen, their sunscreen, I really, really like. And it also leaves 0 white cast. But the best part for me here is that it doesn't have any alcohol, so it doesn't sting at all. So if you have sensitive skin, if you have compromised skin barrier, this is really good because wala siyang alcohol. The only bone I have to pick with this is that it's 999 pesos and it's only 30 ml. But aside from that, just looking at the effectivity, the way it wears on your skin, the effect that it has on your skin, this one from Happy Skin is really, really good. It's a really good sunscreen. So another favorite is this one from Nivea. I got this from Bangkok and this is their Protect and White Sun Serum. I'm not sure if this is available in like drugstores or Watsons in the Philippines, but I did get this from a Watsons or from a Boots in Thailand, which is like their Watsons there. But I have seen this in Shopee being sold, so I know that it can be bought from the Philippines. What I love about this, aside from it doesn't have a white cast and it doesn't also have like an oily sheen to it, is that it's a very, very good makeup primer. It has dimethicone. Yung texture niya is exactly the same as any of the primers that we know in the Philippines. Since it doubles as a primer, it minimizes the amount of stuff that you have to put on your face before makeup. The next 3 items are ones that you can get at Watsons or at the Mercury Drug. This one is the Neutrogena Ultra Sheer, and it is an SPF 50 with a PA of 3+. This also is a very milky consistency. It doesn't leave a white cast as usual, and it doesn't have an oily feel. Yun nga lang, it has a fragrance. So if you're sensitive, it's best to take note of that. I got this small one, the Nivea Protect and White. So, pinsan sila. Magpinsan sila. But this one is the Protect and White Face Cream. It's SPF 50 with a PA of 3+. This one, when you first put it on, there is like a bit of a white cast. But when you rub it and you let it dry, nawawala na rin yung white cast niya. This one is Quick FX Sunscreen, and I like this one because it also has things like niacinamide, and that's actually very good, especially if you have acne-prone skin, because it minimizes or controls the amount of sebum or oil that your skin produces. And this is SPF 50 with a PA of 3+. This is a Korean brand, a PowerBlock Aqua Sun Gel with SPF 50 with a PA of 4+. Surprisingly, I got this in a Korean supermarket that's near my house. And the same thing, it's also super duper lightweight and it leaves no visible oily sheen. So the name of the supermarket is Soda Mart. I'm not sure if they regularly stock up, but that is where I got it from. Try checking online. Shopee, Lazada, ganun, if you can find it there as well. And lastly, this is the Human Nature Safe Protect Sunscreen. And this is an SPF 30 broad spectrum with a PA of 4+. It's reef friendly. However, it has a tiny bit of a white cast that goes away, but you kind of need to really rub it in for a good I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes before the white cast completely goes away, but it does go away. So one good thing about this is that it is reef-friendly, and it's also good for sensitive skin. But from a science point of view, natural does not always mean good or better, because there are natural products that are naturally irritating to our skin, like say for example certain fragrances, essential oils. But also each individual person, each individual skin type has sensitivities to certain things. Like there are some people who are allergic to grass, or allergic to pineapple, or allergic to bananas, and all sorts of things. So it doesn't mean that something is natural, that it is already right away better than another product that is, say, from a lab or is chemical based. So for example, this one, the first ingredient on the ingredients list is coconut oil. And you know, there are a lot of people who are okay with coconut oil. You don't get a lot of problems with coconut oil. But me personally, my skin finds coconut oil a little bit too heavy, and the result is that I get breakouts, and I also get like patches of dry, uneven skin. So I usually avoid products with coconut oil. However, not everyone has the same skin type as mine. So if you're okay with coconut oil, this is a good product to have. It's also very affordable. It's only 300 pesos for 50 ml. The next ones I'm going to show you are also my favorites, but they do come with a bit of a warning. For example, this is the spray version of the Body Shop Skin Defense, and it's SPF 45 with a PA of 2 pluses. And this is a good sunscreen. However, I only would recommend that you use this as a touch-up sunscreen, primarily because there is really no way that you can measure out the right dosage if you're using it in a spray form. So for touch-ups, you spray this on. It's very convenient even on top of makeup. But for this to be your only sunscreen, or for this to be your only layer of sun protection the entire day, I don't really recommend it. And lastly, this is the Emulsion Luminous Stick, and this is SPF 50 with a PA of 4 pluses. You apply it on like a deodorant, and it applies clear. And the reason why I don't recommend this as like your first layer of protection or the only layer of protection, just like the spray, there is really no way that you can measure the proper dosage. It's okay for touch-ups if you don't have any makeup on, but for this to be your only layer of sun protection, again, I don't really recommend. That's it, guys. That's our video for today, and I hope that you found this helpful. If you did, please hit the like button or share this to your friends who are also skincare buffs, or those who are desperately looking for sunscreens that don't have white cast. Or if you have any other suggestions for good sunscreens, or questions about the products or the information that I said in this video, please don't hesitate to comment down below. Thank you for watching, guys. See you next time. Bye! 下次见!